Hello everyone, this is Ekta Radaria from the Department of Pharmacology, LG Institute of Pharmacy, Ahmedabad. I welcome you all on behalf of LGIP on the Pharma Ignite channel for this e-lecture series, which is the initiative taken by Lok Jagruti Kendra Trust. So today we are going to learn about pharmacotherapy for diabetes. There are various approaches used in the treatment and management for diabetic patients. So the first and most important approach is modification in your lifestyle with diet in compliance with exercise. Talking about medications, type 1 diabetic patients are prescribed with insulin, and in type 2 diabetes they are prescribed with oral hypoglycemic agents. Now moving towards the specific types of diabetes and its treatment. So what happens actually in type 1 diabetes? Type 1 diabetes, it is our bodily response, or our body is not able to produce enough insulin, or sometimes it doesn't produces insulin at all. It might be due to the loss of beta cell, or it might be due to the massive destruction of beta cells. It leads to the lowered responses of pancreatic cells, and it might be due to any viral action, or it may be due to any chemical action or other toxins. So type 1 diabetics usually shows classic symptoms of polyuria, polyphagia and many more. Now these patients are prescribed with exogenous insulin. There are different categories of insulin, including short acting, intermediate acting and long acting. Now talking about the mechanism of action, insulin, it acts on the specific receptors which are located on the cell membrane of each and every cell, but the action differs on the density and the amount of receptors present on the specific cell. For example, liver and fat cell lining, they are rich in these receptors, so they have specifically got more quantum of activity. Now talking about the structure of insulin, it is the heterodimer structure, which is the heterotetrameric glycoprotein consisting of two different subunits, alpha and beta. Alpha unit is located extracellularly, whereas beta unit they have got on the transmembrane, which is joined together by disulfide bond. Now the alpha subunit has got activity with insulin binding sites, whereas beta subunit they have got activity of tyrosine kinase protein. There are various available preparations in market, which includes regular insulin, lent insulin, isophane insulin, protamine zinc insulin, human insulin and recombinant DNA insulin. Now let us talk about the type 2 diabetes treatment. So what happens actually in type 2 diabetes? The major typical observed symptom is insulin resistance, and it is not due to any autoimmune processes or not due to the autoimmune defect in our body, and sometimes it might be due to not enough amount of insulin secreted by our body, or it is our bodily response, or how our body responses to the processed blood glucose. So let's move to the treatment of type 2 diabetes. So major goal or approaches for type 2 diabetes is to decrease the blood glucose level and brings it to the normal level. So oral hypoglycemic agents, they are the widely prescribed drugs in type 2 diabetes. It includes various different categories of drugs, including sulfonylureas, biguanide, meglitinides, thiazolidinediones, alpha glucosidase inhibitor, DPP4 inhibitor and SGLT2 inhibitors. These are the major 7 categories which are used in type 2 diabetes. So now let us talk about the sulfonylureas. All the drugs of these class, they have got similar pharmacological actions, and the main aim is to decrease the hepatic blood glucose level. They are not prescribed in type 1 diabetes. So let's talk about the mechanism of action. These drugs, they will bind to the specific sulfonylurea receptors which are present on the cell membrane of pancreas, beta cell membrane of pancreas, and it produces the depolarization state of action potential. As soon as it closes the potassium channel, the potassium gets leave of the cell and it leads to the depolarization state of action potential, and hence it opens up the calcium channel. It will start the entry of calcium channels. It leads to the influx of calcium, and then it leads to the exocytosis of insulin via degranulation, and hence it will increase the release of insulin. uh, Moving towards the pharmacokinetic, they are well absorbed orally, and they are mostly plasma protein bound, and they are metabolized in liver, and they will excrete via urine. Adverse effect, they are more they have not observed with more side effects, but sometimes hypoglycemia is observed, and the common side effects includes nausea, vomiting and diarrhea. Now moving towards the second category, which is biguanide. Now this class of drug includes fenformin and metformin. The fenformin was withdrawn long back because of its side effects such as lactic acidosis, and they were introduced in long back 1950s. Now the major action of these is to suppress the hepatic glucose via the hepatic gluconeogenesis process, and hence it will increase the glucose uptake and utilization via peripheral tissue, and hence it will increase the circulation of insulin secretion. Lactic acidosis and vitamin B12 absorption might get affected due to the long-term use of these drugs. These drugs includes metformin and fenformin. Now moving towards the next class, which is meglitides. These class of drugs, they have got the similar actions of sulfonylureas, but it really depends on the functioning of beta cell. So they have the distinct receptors of sulfonylurea, and they will act same as sulfonylurea, like the closure of potassium ATP channel, and it will increase the release of calcium, and hence it will increase the exocytosis of insulin, and hence it will increase the insulin secretion. It includes the repaglinide and nataglinide. Now next class of drug is thiazolidine diones. So these drugs are pioglitazone and rosiglitazones. They are the selective agonists of PPAR gamma, which is peroxisome proliferated activated receptors. So they will activate the PPAR, and it leads to the sensitization of various peripheral organs to insulin, and it will increase the transcription of particular insulin gene responses, and hence it will decrease the blood glucose level via three different phenomena. One is it may promote lipogenesis. Second, it may increase the glucose transport via adipose tissue and muscle fat. And third, it decreases the hepatic glucose output via decreasing the hepatic gluconeogenesis process. Adverse effect, it includes common adverse effects such as weight gain, edema, as is common in for the anti-diabetic drugs, and in most and in some patients it has been also observed with the dysfunction of liver and dysfunction of sometimes renal. Now next category is alpha glucosidase inhibitor. Alpha glucosidase, it is the enzyme which is located on the brush border lining of intestine, and it is responsible for digestion of carbohydrates. So these are the complex molecules, these agents. What it will do, it will delay the absorption of carbohydrate, and hence it decreases the postprandial glucose. These class of drugs includes acarbose, voclibose and many more. Next is DPP4 inhibitor. DPP4 inhibitors means dipeptidyl peptidase 4. These enzymes, they are responsible for increasing the incretins such as GLP, which is glucagon like peptide. What it will do, it will decreases the level of glucagon which is secreted from liver, and it is responsible for increasing blood glucose level. So these drugs, it will increases the level of incretins, and hence it will decreases the blood glucose levels. These class of drugs includes sitagliptin, vitagliptin and lexagliptin. Next is SGLT2 inhibitors. It is sodium glucose linked transporter or sodium glucose co-transporter. Now most of the filtered glucose, it is reabsorbed by the PCT in renal by SGLT2 enzyme, and it contributes to the increasing blood glucose level in type 2 diabetes. So these class of drugs, it will inhibit or it will block the transporter or enzyme HGLT2, and hence it inhibits the reabsorption of glucose via SGLT2, and it improves the blood glucose level and HbA1c. I hope you all have enjoyed this session, and I would like to thank Pharma Ignite for providing us this digital platform. Thank you everyone.